Hey yo, welcome to the Best Day Ever podcast. It's your boy Tru Sav, live from Wakanda, California. Boy, do I got a good one for you today. So, really quick, we're gonna jump right into it. If you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you already know. This Friday, I went to my cousin's, my wife's cousin. I call him my cousin. I don't do cousin-in-law stuff like that. My man is a senior in high school, and he had a football game. So, of course, I support live performances. So we go to the football game. The football game is in De California. Now, if you're thinking I've never heard of De that's because De is in Richmond, California. So we pull up. It's a nice school, nice in the hills. So it kind of throws you off because you're looking like, well, this isn't what Richmond looks like. So, okay. So we get to the game. We get there right as they kick off. It's a 0-0 game. Deanza scores first. My man's team, he comes back and he scores. So it's a close game. Action packed. I guess her uncle, the father of the kid we came to play, is my favorite kind of sports parent. He's yelling at the coach from the stands. And when I say yelling, I mean yelling. Like, Coach, you got to call better plays. Coach, get your son out of there. You're going to get those kids killed. Like, he's that guy. Now, I mean, I'm not here to judge. I didn't particularly have those kind of sports parents, but I love it. I love when people are in the crowd yelling for their kid. I mean, at least you're there for your kid. A lot of people don't even show up. I'd rather have my parent there acting a fool than not there. But so they tie the game up. The other team scores on a big play, like screen, 70-yard dude takes it to the house. So I'm like, okay, this is their time to come back. Like, if they score here, it'll be a game. They ended up, I think, maybe going five and out, something like that. Punt the ball, kid returns the punt for a touchdown. Now it's 21-7. So I'm like, okay, they got to do something. I think they go 3 and out again. They take the ball down. They there's maybe 48 seconds left in the half. Dude throws a bomb, 50-yard bomb. Dude catches it. They run a toss that's really a running back pass. They scored a touchdown. It's 30-7. So now the team that he plays for is in Vallejo. So let me set the scene. There's no filter on anyone in the crowd. Like, I'm used to being the reserved at the school. There might be a couple complaints from the crowd. No. They have a boombox in the crowd that's playing nothing but early 2000s music. They're playing Usher and Pass the Cavassier. And they're literally passing the Cavassier. Like, everyone had a bottle. People had cups. Like, oh, let me get some of that, girl. Oh, what you got? I got Tanqueray. It was wild. It was a good time. I wish I still drank. I might have had a little sippy sip. So all that's going on. Everybody's yelling. They're cussing, man. Fuck this, fuck that. But everybody's a coach. Everybody knows the plays. Everybody knows. It was a good time. So we get to halftime. Now, the cheerleaders from Vallejo have on T-shirts and shorts. Like, no cheerleading outfits, no jackets, no nothing like that. Just T-shirts and shorts. The other school, they had real cheerleading outfits, so they had, like, the same color scheme as the school, but their weaves were popping, boy. Everybody had the 18, 24-inch Brazilian in. They all had their little cute outfits, makeup done. But the one thing I noticed was that the outfits didn't have the school's name on them. So I was like, oh, you just had enough money to buy the outfits. But hey, I love it. Whatever. I've never seen it before, so I enjoyed it. So now comes the best part of the show, is the halftime show. So Vallejo goes first, and they come out. And you can't really hear the music because the music is facing the home crowd. But boy, did they put on a show. They were out there doing all types of stuff I've never seen before. They were doing the little dance moves. The crowd was going wild on both sides. So I was like, okay. So the other school comes up. And I mean, it was all right. they played a couple songs that I guess everyone knew. I'm out of the loop. I'm old. I don't really know. But the crowd really wasn't feeling them like they were feeling Vallejo. And so the moms for the school that I came to watch were like, yeah, y'all got all that hair and all the outfits, but you got outshined by some girls in t-shirts and some shorts. Y'all are whack. So I guess, well, at least there was a problem with the stereo for both sides. It wasn't like they couldn't hear their music. You could barely hear their music also. So it wasn't like a sabotage job. So after that, it was all of a sudden all the players and the coaches and stuff came out to the center of the field and they were playing that song, the song from Fast and the Furious, when they split up and they go their separate ways. It's been a long time without you, my friend. That one, I don't know, whatever that is. So it's playing loud over like the loudspeaker, and so they're like, "Oh man, turn that motherfucking shit off! Like, why are you playing that?" And then they announce over the speaker that one of the guys on the home team from De Anza was killed a week ago. Like, he was shot. And so then everyone kind of was like, oh shit, like, my bad. Well, motherfucker, why didn't you say so? I don't mean to laugh at the situation. It was, their response was unique. And it made me realize why they were playing so inspired. And it made me think of a time when I had bet on Ohio State. I had bet a 10-team parlay, and I had bet, I think, $5. And I'd picked 10 teams, so if I would have won, no, something, it might have been 8 teams, because if it's $5, I would have won $1,000. All my other teams had won. All I needed was for Ohio State to beat a 2-6 Iowa team by 14 points. So I'm watching the game. I usually don't watch the game if I bet on it. So I'm watching, and Iowa's playing inspired. Like, they're not giving up big plays. And so at halftime of the game, the announcer says, yeah, the Iowa Hawkeyes have dedicated this game to a student who had cancer, and his last dying wish was that they beat Ohio State. So needless to say, Iowa won by 20 that game, and I lost my $1,000. But it reminded me of that situation and people being inspired to play. And needless to say, my cousin's team didn't win that game. They didn't come close. But I talked to him after the game, and I told him, there's no shame in losing like that. Like, you guys tried. It was just bad coaching, bad play calling all the way around. But no shame in losing like that. That was Friday night. Saturday I go to work, and I work at Dickies, then I work at the gym. And when I'm at the gym, I ran into a lady, and she asked me, how are you doing? I was like, well, best day ever. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, can't get yesterday back, might not to get tomorrow, so that makes today the best day ever. So she says, oh, well, I run this business, and I'd really like to talk to you, so on and so forth. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, that's what's up. Give her my number. Then we set up a meeting for Sunday. No, I take it back. This was Thursday before the football game, because Saturday I was talking to my coworker who needs to come on the podcast because I need a co-host. And actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you guys her Instagram so you guys can hit her up and tell her to come on the show. I'll give you that later. Don't worry about it. So I was telling her about the lady and how she was talking about running her own business and so on and so forth. And she was like, oh, well, let me know. Let me know, because that's something that I want to get out of here too. Like, I'm tired of being here, so on and so forth. So I told her, all right, like, I'll let you know. And in the conversation, it made me think of an old interview that Dame Dash did on The Breakfast Club. And in the interview, he basically said having a job is for losers. Like, if you really want to be about something, you need to own your own business, control your own destiny. And the famous words was, he asked the guy interviewing him, what's your boss's name? And the guy responds, which one? And he scoffs at him and laughs and he says, oh my God. He's like, you said that with pride. Like, how are you happy that you have to call another man boss? Like, he's like, are you your son's hero? And he's like, of course I am. My son thinks I'm a superhero. He's like, yeah, until your boss walks in the room. He went on to say, because he said, yeah, I'm my own boss. I have this money. He's like, really? He's like, you have to be here. Otherwise you're fired. You can't take vacation when you want to. You have to ask permission to take vacation. You can't get your son a job here. You can't pull any money out of this business. So how can you be in control of your own destiny? And when I told her this, she kind of looked at me and she's like, do you agree with that? I said, yeah, for the most part. She's like, but so you're a sucker then because you work a job. And I was like, yes, I agree. Like, I signed up for it. Like, I don't want to be here, but this is the situation that I put myself in. So, I mean, I've got to do it. And so then she responds, well, do you think that everyone can be a boss? Like, can everyone run their own business? Does everyone have the capacity to do that? And I was like, no. I think that people have certain sets of skills that they could make profitable, but I don't think that some people want to do the work. I think some people just, like you said, some people just want to take the easy way out. They want to go to work 9 to 5, have that security of a job, have the feeling that they know they're going to get benefits, that they know they're going to get taken care of. They don't want to take the risk. Because like it's dangerous to put your own money up. Now does it 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years? So who wants to really do that? And when she said that, she's like, well, I don't want to own a business. Like, I'm a soldier. I just want to get this money, get out, be under someone's direction and go from there. And it made me think, it was like, well, I agree with what he's saying wholeheartedly. I really believe it is, and again, it's me being the happy hypocrite. You need to have your own source of income. And again, this came from me watching my father do it. And it's funny because he actually said this in the interview. He said, your dad taught you. This is Dame Dash speaking to the interviewer. He says, your father taught you to get a job and to work, and now you're going to pass that on to your son, who's going to keep that going. His father taught him to make his own money, and he in turn passed this down to his son, who will pass this down to his son, hopefully, and the cycle will continue. So, again, I learned this from my dad because I've never seen my dad punch a clock before. All of my experiences with him going to work was he was the boss. So when I came in, I was the boss's kid. And it was a different feeling when you walked in the building and you were the boss's son. Because even if people didn't want to, like, they had to be cool. Like, they always had to have a smile. And I didn't understand at the time. I didn't know. But it was a different feeling as opposed to walking in and being an employee's son. Because you kind of had to be on your P's and Q's. I didn't abuse the privilege. I didn't go out of my way to do anything crazy or anything like that. But still it's a different mindset that you have because he could leave. He could leave, come pick me up from school. We could go do stuff. There was no, I have to go into the office to work overtime or I can't come home because my boss said I have to do these papers. He was the boss. I feel like coming in late today. I'm coming late today. I need you to stay. I'm going to ask you to stay. Now, of course, there's always downfalls of being the boss. Like, you always have to shoulder the load if money's a little tight. Because sometimes in business, it's feast or famine. Where sometimes times are good and the money's rolling in and sometimes it's not. So you've got to sometimes be the one to take the hit. And you've got to pay your employees and you might not cash a check for a little bit. That's the thing. But it's still better than being subject to someone's whim, especially someone who's not qualified. I think we've all been through that, where we have shift leaders or assistant managers or owners, or even your boss who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. And you've got to swallow your pride and listen to what this person's talking about when you know good and darn well they don't know what they're talking about, and they're gonna sink this motherfucker. But I need this check. I'm not gonna be sleeping outside the Lake Merritt, even though I want to. It'll save us a lot of money. But that's the main difference. So for me, as much as I love my job, I love going to Dickies and I love going to 24-hour fitness, I feel like a sucker every day when I gotta go to work and clock in and take orders really from whoever the boss may be that particular day. But again, like he was saying, you have to have your own way of creating income. And especially now in the age with you can sell products directly to customers, whether it be Venmo, PayPal, Amazon, or creating content on whatever forum you decide to. It's not like the old days where you needed a degree and then you work at General Motors for 40 years, you retire, you get a gold watch and a pension and Medicare or Social Security. Like those days are gone. I have that conversation with my mom all the time. Well, why don't you go back to school and get a degree and this and this? And it's like, what is that degree going to help me do? Like that, unless you're a doctor, unless you're a professional, doctor, nurse, accountant, something like that, that degree is not really going to help you. Your communications degree, or your liberal arts, or your general ed, your bachelor, like the bachelor isn't worth anything. You damn near have to have a master's, and that comes with $200,000 in debt. So times are different. Like, and I mean, what's that kid's name? There's a kid on YouTube that just made $5 million playing with toys, unboxing toys and playing with them. Like, you don't need a degree for that. And he's a child. He's 10, 11, 12. If not younger. I think he's younger than that. People are making money playing video games. I think a kid just won $2 million playing Fortnite. People are making money playing NBA 2K and Madden and all this other type of stuff. People are making money doing all sorts of things. So it's, while there is a safety blanket in having a job, I can't condone it. But again, I'm a hypocrite. So as much as I would love to take that route, I can't particularly do that. Now, she did have a good point. As much as I talked about, I love working for myself, and because up until I met my wife, I was gainfully employed. I didn't have a 9-to-5, but I mean, I was making money. I was betting on basketball, football, and I mean, I was good. Like, I was good enough to pay my bills. Good. I mean, I can't remember the last time I'd had a job before I met her. I don't think I had a job the whole time I was dating her. I think in the summertime, maybe 1 year, I had worked at like a recycling center, and it was some place that played cash. Now, those are some stories. I need to write that down. The good old recycling yard. That's going to be in the Tru Sav Chronicles. Watch out for that one. But I mean, I just couldn't justify listening to somebody else when I knew there was so much money out there. Like, why waste my time coming to work every day and slaving for somebody else when I can make the money myself? Like, and when I had talked to my coworker about this, she disagreed, but I saw her point. I saw the point that she was making. And as much as I disagree with her, and I was like, yeah, you're a sucker if you have a job. Like I said earlier, she made a very good point. She's like, you have 2 jobs. So how can you say that you feel that way? And it made me think, not only do I feel that way, but if I feel that way, then does that mean that everyone else is wrong for working a job? I was like, does that mean that my mom is the sucker for having the job because my mom worked for Kaiser for 35 years. She punched the clock. All of her friends did. My dad's friends that didn't know the job or own a business, they clocked in every day. Like some of them worked for the state, some of them worked for the county. I mean, shit. I work 2 jobs right now, so I mean, am I? Well, yeah, we know I am. I mean, I sold out. I didn't have a choice. My wife made me though. But it made me think of what's that movie? A Bronx Tale. There's 2 scenes in the movie. The first scene is when Robert De Niro's son, I guess he got some money from Sonny, and De Niro takes the money back in, and he tells him to stay away from dude. He's a gangster, and so on and forth. And the little boy says, Sonny was right. The working man is a sucker, Dad. He's a sucker. And he slaps the little boy, and he says, no, the working man's a tough guy. Like, let me see them try to get up every day and go to work. Like, that's the real tough guy. And at the time, I was like, oh, that's silly. That doesn't make sense. But it was easy. Like, gambling and doing all the other stuff, just being out in the streets, like, it was easy. You don't have to get up. There's no real commitment to anything. You don't have to be consistent with stuff. As long as you make enough to make it through the day, that's what it was. And I viewed it that way. My friends viewed it that way. Like, why go to work every day for minimum wage when I could be out here doing what I want all day and still making the same amount of money? And there's pros and cons to both of it. Like, as an adult now, I understand, like, maybe I should have just took my ass to work and I would have that safety net, but I wouldn't give up most of my experiences for anything. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was live out there. It was live in the streets. But I can't agree with Dame when he said jobs are for losers. Now, he ended up cleaning it up in a different interview, and he explained what he meant. And it was the same thing I meant. It's not for me. Like, if that's what you do, I can respect it. Like, that's what's up. Get your 401k, get your stocks, get your medical, all of that. I don't have a problem with that. But it wasn't for me. But I do agree with De Niro when he says that working a job is a million times harder. And I respect anyone who can work at a job 20, 30, 40, 50 years and not their own business, like someone who goes to work at GM or a factory or a coal miner or shit. Even if you work at Dollar Tree for 10, 20, 30, 40 years and you make a career out of it and you can feed yourself or your family, like, there's no shame in that. I mean, shit, there's no shame in working a job. A lot of times, even people I work with now feel like they're better than their job or I'm too good to be working here. It's like, no, you're not. You're exactly where your motherfucking ass is supposed to be. Like, if you were better than your job, you would do something else. When they complain about, well, this isn't happening or that isn't happening, it's like, well, why don't you change it? Why don't you become the manager, the shift lead, the whatever? It's like, no, you just want to complain. And again, that's not my hustle. I'm not here to tell people that they're wrong for wanting to live the way for living their life the way they want to live it. My wife works on the plantation, so I can't be too mad at her. I just had to get that out. I was thinking about that all day. I was at work. And thinking about that, it made me think of some of the people I have worked for that own their own business. Obviously, I talked about my dad. That was a good one. When we used to work, we did import-export. So basically, we would go to Africa, buy some stone sculptures and whatnot, and bring them back. And then we would sell them here in the States for whatever price. And so that in itself was beneficial because it taught me how commerce really worked. So after that, I don't want to say it it was good and bad. It was good because it taught me how to make money, how to be self-sufficient, how to run my own business. But it also bad because then once I was in school and I was taking a business class, I couldn't really take the teacher seriously because it's like, if you're so smart and so knowledgeable, why aren't you doing it? Like, why are you just a teacher? And then some of the things that you're talking about don't even make sense. Like, that's not how it works in the real world. But to each his own. Let's see. There's images of stone. There was a computer business that he ran. Now, that was deep. That was ahead of his time. I don't even know what he did. I just know when he came in the office, everybody was on computers. I think they were fixing computers, something like that. This was in the 90s, like 91, 92. So this was ahead of the game. So again, part of it is you have to be able to see the curve. Prime example, one of the ladies I work with, I know I'm all over the place today, I apologize. One of the ladies I work with, she is a lightweight business person. Now, she's worked at 24 for about 12 years, 11 years. And she makes Easter baskets. Like the kinds you see like on Valentine's Day or Mother's Day. Like when you see somebody out there selling like Easter baskets, that's her. And she said she's been doing it for the whole time she's worked at the gym. And so I was asking her, I was like, well, how much do you make? I was like, I don't need an exact number, but I mean, she would usually take off the day of the holiday and then maybe the day before. And then she still would take personal orders from people. So people that worked at the store or people who have over the years knows that she makes them, and she'll put whatever you want to in there. Specific toys or specific kind of food or candy, depending on what the holiday is. And she had said, I guess it was her sister, and I guess another relative of hers. And when I asked her how much she made, she made a nice profit. Because, I mean, again, you're buying everything wholesale. You're buying the baskets. And we're talking about big baskets, medium baskets, small baskets. And in talking to her, she even had the business sense to understand I'll only make a couple of the big ones because a lot of people aren't going to buy the big ones. It makes more sense to sell the small ones because people, if you sell the small ones, geez, it's past my bedtime, for $10, $20, $30, $40, people are more likely to buy those than the big ones for like $100 some odd dollars or even $80. So it was a competition between her sister, and her other relative, and they were making a couple dollars. Like it was nothing to sneeze at compared to the amount of work and materials that were used. And she said that this was probably going to be the last year that she did it. And I asked her why, and she's like, well, I'm just old, I'm tired, I don't really want to do it. And I told her, I was like, I mean, as much as you're saying you don't want to work here forever, obviously, why not start a business? And she's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, you already have the clientele. There's already people who know that you do it. Like you have a market for this already. Like, why not? All you need is a website. I mean, you don't even need a website. You can get on Facebook. You can get on Instagram. I'm not too familiar with Twitter, so I couldn't really tell her to do that. I was like, just come up with a name for your little basket thing, and you could take private orders at first. You do it like flowers.com or something, because there's already people who do it for their birthdays. There's so many holidays: Labor Day, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, anniversaries, holidays. Oh, well, that just seems like it's not though. It's really not. And again, if you get good at it and you just have surplus of inventory, meaning your baskets, your filler, your stuff like that, it's not even that big of a deal. You don't have to be out there on the holidays on the corner trying to sell stuff. And when bigger holidays come, then obviously you can go out there and you can crack them over the head one time, but you could turn that into something. 'Cause, I mean, everyone at work knows that you do it. They've told their friends and family, so they buy them from you. Like, why not? And surprisingly enough, her response, it wasn't even that it was too much work. It was just, I just don't want to do that. So this made me think back to the other coworker, J-Dub, when her and I were talking, was like, some people just want to be soldiers. Like, some people don't want to take the lead and do that. Like, that's the thought of that is frightening. Even though there was nothing to really lose in this situation because it's a win-win for you. But some people don't want to do that. Some people want to be an employee because, again, it's safe. There's nothing wrong with that. I try to bring it up as often as I can to her. Like, please, for the love of God, will you turn this into a business so you can make some money? Like, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Maybe I figure if I talk about it enough or I provide enough examples, like maybe one day she'll do it. But that was things like that kind of, because it's sometimes we only look at things from our perspective. And for me, it seemed like a no-brainer. Like, it seemed like something so obvious, like, well, here it is, you have this market, you have this need, supply and demand. Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's free money. I mean, you're already working hard here. Why break your back for someone else? If you're going to break your back, do it for yourself. We'll see. Hopefully, I told her, I was like, I mean, if you want me to, I'll set it up for you. I'll set up your Facebook, your Instagram, your online, everything. All you got to do is put your picture on it. And if you want to show me how to do it, I'll give you a cut. I'll give you like 25, 30% to use your name, something like that. Or we could do it per basket, whatever you want to do. It's the entrepreneur in me. What can I say? Even with that, but the ironic part of that is while she didn't want to make a business, she actually had a rather robust stock portfolio. And I was, for someone who said that she wasn't that technologically advanced, she had a good 401k because she had bought some stocks into a company she had worked at before. So that was still gaining money. She had a Roth, an IRA, and she was still actively putting money into different stocks and stuff. So I was like, well, I guess you know more about what you're talking about than I do. I'm just someone on the outside looking in, but still, you kind of have to be mindful when you're saying, oh, well, you got to do this and that. But she owns her house. She's owned it for, 20 years? So she's almost paid off her mortgage. So, I mean, about 10 years. I guess she's really aiming for 10 years. So I guess she really doesn't need the business. It was just more work that she didn't really want to do. So, I don't know. But if I do figure it out, get all your Easter baskets and your birthday baskets from your boy. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. Tru Savage Baskets and Samo or something. I don't know. Leave an idea for a name in the comments. I don't know. But different people I worked for. So I worked for Pops forever. That was interesting. I learned a lot of people skills, how to work with people. My favorite boss by far, and I'd probably say the one that I don't want to say changed my life, but it opened my eyes. It broadened my horizons. I worked for an African guy. What's his name? Titus. My favorite boss of all time. I was a personal assistant. That was my forte. And Titus was African, obviously, if you couldn't tell by my horrible accent. And he was a private contractor. So my job consisted of picking him up in the mornings to go to work. So I had a company car. I wasn't really salaried. I was kind of, but not really. But the company car made up for it. If I was ever short on anything, I could write a check to myself and get gas or whatever, stuff like that. And so I would go to City Hall a lot, drop off plans for different buildings, be at different work sites. I went to a lot of lumber yards, picked up stuff, just regular personal assistant stuff. So one day, he calls me, and I'm like, yo, what's up? Tru Sav, I need you to go to Franklin Boulevard and pick up 2 Mexicans. I said, what? You want me to do what? I need you to pick up 2 Mexicans and go to 100 Ford Road and use the baler, and I need you to dig a ditch from this post to that post. And he gave me all the instructions of what I needed to do. But I was still tripped out because he had said go pick up 2 Mexicans. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what? It didn't make sense at the time. I didn't understand what he was saying. And if you don't know what I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't. Standing out in front of your local Home Depot, or in this case, there's an AM PM on Franklin and 47th in Sacramento, where there would be our Latino brothers and sisters. I call them day laborers. I don't call them Mexicans. Like, while they are Hispanic, I just feel there's something weird about saying that about people. Like, that's just not. I don't know. That's something that we'll talk about next time. That's going to be a good one. So anyway, there is people standing outside. So I drive by. I don't really know what to do because I've never picked up a day laborer before. So this is all brand new to me. So I drive by. Now I'm in a truck. And if you're in a truck, that's a serious situation because they already know what time it is. So I drive by the site, or I drive by the AMPM. I kind of look around, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this. Like, fuck that. I'm not getting kidnapped. I'm not getting robbed. Fuck that. So I call one of my friends who has a Hispanic name, and I pick him up. We go out to the job site. We get some beer. We get some weed, and we work. Now the cool part is, I have on slacks and a button up, but I always kept an extra pair of clothes with me because I knew shit like this would happen. So I put on my work clothes. He's got on his work clothes, and we knock it out. So we're out there. We're working, and at the end of the day, the boss pulls up. He sees me and my friend. Now I haven't told him that I know dude. But when he pulls up and he sees him, he looks at him, he looks at me. Tru Sav, I told you to go get a Mexican, not your friend with a Mexican name. And I was like, bro, I couldn't find any. Like, there was nobody out there. And he knew I was lying. Like, he was like, so you didn't see anybody out there? And I just admitted, I was like, look, man, I just didn't feel comfortable rolling up like that. And like, I've never had to do that before. Like, it was awkward. I got somebody, we figured it out. Can we get paid now? So we paid my mans and we went about our business. What is it? Another week or two goes by and it's the same situation. I get the same phone call. I need you to go pick up 2 Mexicans. He's like, and this time I want you to go get 2 Mexicans, not your friend. Because over the course of the week, there was work to be done. So I just kept calling my friend. I was like, why not? Like, why am I going to go get somebody else? And it wasn't that he was doing a bad job. It's just we were in there bullshitting. Like, he knew we were bullshitting. So I pull up. Now what is it? It's got to be 8 o'clock in the morning. So I have some shovels in the back, a wheelbarrow, some like heavy duty construction, like a leveler. If you know what a leveler is, it's like a jackhammer, but it's flat. So if you dig something up, you stick the dirt back in the ground, you use the leveler, pop, 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 pop. So I'm new to the game, so I don't know. I pull up in the truck, and they all see me. Like, they all make eye contact, and like they already know what time it is. Because if you pull up, the thing about it is, the people who work there, it's almost like a drug deal. The main thing is eye contact. If you don't want anybody to pull up on you, you don't make eye contact with them. You just park, go get your gas, and whatever, it's good. You get up out of there. I fucked up because I made eye contact, and I kind of had to look like, I guess, maybe. So they put two and two together. Bam. They see the truck. They see the stuff in the back. They see me looking confused. So bam, they instantly run up on me. Now my mistake was I left the door unlocked because I didn't know any better. I didn't know how this transaction worked. So the first guy jumps in. Bam, and he's speaking broken English, of course. Oh, I went to work, boss, some. So he can kind of speak English. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're rocking. So I was like, well, I need one more guy. And he goes, I know a guy. He waves his friend over. So now it was crazy because there's people at the driver's side door. There's people at that side. So they get in. We go to the site. And when we get there, I didn't even have to say anything. All I had to do was point at what needed to be done. I was like, take this shovel, dig this, take this wheelbarrow, do that. Do you know how to use the leveler? They're like, yep, I know how to do that. And this is in Sacramento in the summertime. Well, it was spring, so it's still 70s, 80s, something like that. But it's not the Bay Area by any stretch of the imagination. So it's not 80s or anything like this. So they're out there, and I mean, they're breaking their back. Like there's, I don't know how to even describe it. They were working harder than anybody I've ever seen work. Like, they were flying around. They're digging the ditches as fast as they can. My man is damn near running with the wheelbarrow to get back and forth to places. And I finally had to tell him, I was like, look. In my best version of Spanish that I could tell him, I tried to tell him, look, I need you to work hard, but not fast. And I kind of demonstrated with the shovel. Like, I demonstrated, like, working fast, like, and then I would kind of shovel, move, and they kind of looked at me, and then I gave it to him, and we kind of, what is it? In our broken language, he figured out what I was saying, and they kind of looked at each other, and they were confused because I basically was telling them, like, you don't have to work that hard. It's not that serious, bro. Like, not for $10 an hour or whatever the fucking rate was. So the day goes by. Now, I was out there too. Like, I wasn't just sitting in the car being an asshole watching them. Like, I was actually doing stuff too. Cause I mean, I'm not that guy. Like, I wasn't there to be their supervisor. I was there to get the job done too. So the day goes by, and at the end of the day, he had told me as usual, he's like, yeah, if you need money for anybody, just write a check or whatever the fuck. Any money that you give them, I'll give back to you. So we worked from, it was 8th. Yeah, we worked the whole day. So it was $80 a person. So I go get the money. I had $100 bill and 320s because it was 160. So we had took a lunch break, and we take our lunch break. So we leave, we pack the leveler up, and we go to the McDonald's. We were in the north. Yeah, so we went to the McDonald's off of Northgate in I-80. Shout out to the farm boys. We're out there, and we go into the McDonald's, Well, no, first we went to the gas station, and no, we went to McDonald's, and we go to McDonald's, and I go to order some food, and I ask them, like, what do you want? And they're like, no, 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 no. And I was like, bro, we've been out here all day. I know you're hungry because I'm hungry as shit. Like, what do you want? And they were like, oh, like a cheeseburger and a small fry or something. And I was like, oh, I get it. You think I'm going to take this money out of yours. So I, again, in my worst English or my worst Spanish, I said, no, I'm paying. Like, get whatever you want. So they said, oh, so then it was, let me get a number one and double cheeseburger and supersize it. And I was like, that's fine. Like, it's cool. I'm not tripping. And again, through our broken English, as we were eating, we were talking, and they were saying that that's what people will do sometimes, is people will bring them out there to work, and they will charge them exorbitant prices for shit. So if you get a double cheeseburger, they'll charge you $5 and take that out of your pay, which is scandalous as fuck. Like, I couldn't believe it. As he was telling me this, I was just like, wow, like that's some scumbag shit. So we continued our relationship for, I would say, maybe about 3 weeks. I would pick them up every day, and we would conversate and we would talk, and again, in the best English and broken Spanish that we could. And one of the things that they told me was that, because I asked, was like, well, where are you guys from? Well, even before that, it was, I became more comfortable doing it because obviously once you become familiar with something, it becomes that much easier. And it was kind of funny to me to see the pride that they would walk up to the car with now, because once you got regular work, there was no need to stand up there and try to hustle and run to cars and stuff. So when I would pull up, they automatically already knew, like, oh, that's our job. Yeah, you see that? Yeah, we get to smoke mota and drink cervezas with the black guy. Because, I mean, I was kicking it. Like I said, after work, we have a couple beers, if I can eat some food, I drop them off at the crib. And, but the first day, again, I'm jumping all over the place. The first day, when I take them home, I drop them off at a house in a Fruit Ridge, predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. And I made the mistake of gave Dude the money, the first guy that got in the car. I was like, here you guys go. So I watched him give the money to the other guy. So I had 100 and 320s. So he basically was like, I put you on, so I'm keeping 20 of yours and I'm giving you 60. And I was like, damn, like, bro, you just said people were playing you, but now you played your man. So from that day forward, like, I knew, like, you got to have their money separate. Because, like, I get it. Like, you gotta get it how you live. Like, and for him, like, that $20 meant something. Because I can only imagine what the exchange rate was then. I know the exchange rate now in Mexico is 20-1. So that 20 is 400 pesos. So, hey, I can't be mad at him, but at the same time, I couldn't be a party to no shit like that. And then when they got there, when I dropped them off, they opened the door, and it looked like they were having a party in there. And he said, like, yeah, like 25, 30 people live there in one house. And I was like, Jesus, because this was back then when rent was cheap. So a 4-bedroom, if it was that, a 4 or 3-bedroom house was probably $1,500 for a mortgage, and you got 30 people living there. So your rent is what? $75, something like that. But they're sending most of their money back to Mexico anyways, or whatever country they were from. So again, as our relationship developed and we kept working together, we tell tidbits about this is where I'm from, and they told me that they were in the army together in Guatemala, and they had walked from Guatemala to the United States. Now I know you're thinking, oh, that's not that bad. Do you know where Guatemala is? Guatemala is past Mexico. Guatemala is Central America. So it always trips me out when people are like, "Oh, it's the worst. It's fucking the worst people from Mexico and this and this and this." Let's see. How far is it from Guatemala City to Sacramento? It is 3,166 miles, which takes 52 hours and 38 minutes to drive. How long does it take to walk? Jesus Christ. And this is the fastest distance. This is the fastest route. To walk from Guadalajara City to Sacramento, California is 1,000 hours. 1,000 hours to come stand out in front of the gas station and be a day laborer. That's some scandalous shit. But I digress. So again, we were talking about stuff, and I was wondering like why. Like, I know there has to be some bad experiences that you guys had. Like, what are some horror stories of things that you've heard happen or seen happen to people? And one of the things they said that was common is that people will come pick them up and take them to Mendocino County, which is also known as the Golden Triangle. It's north of Sacramento by like Weed, California. I can't think of the other cities. But basically it's where they grow weed at. And they'll take them up there and they'll basically kidnap them. And they'll work the harvest. So it'll be 3, 4, 5 months. They'll plant all this marijuana up there, harvest it, bundle it up, and then they'll just kill them and leave them there. Now that's an extreme case. Other cases, what'll happen is they'll get people from corporations. Well, not corporations, but people, small business owners, stuff like that, or even bigger businesses. They'll pick them up, hire them. They'll let them work for a month or two and then call immigration. Or something will happen, they'll get hurt, and they'll just be like, hey, it's not our problem. But most commonly what happens is people will pick them up for jobs, like residential jobs. Building a fence, digging a hole, gardening, lawn work, stuff like that. And then basically at the end of the day, they'll get them in the truck, take them back to where they're at, and like, fuck you. I'm not going to pay you. What are you going to do? And I was like, fuck. And they said it happens pretty regularly. So they kind of have to be wary of the people that they go with. And obviously I was a unicorn because not too many people, number one, buy them shit for nothing. No one was buying them food or telling them not to work as hard as possible, or buying beer for after work. Like that was definitely not happening. So I understood the hustle, and it was that's why when I said the working man, that's the one who really is the hard worker. That's what it made me think of, because it's like, I mean, I've walked to work before, but I couldn't fucking imagine. Because 3,000 miles is the United States, damn near. I couldn't imagine walking from Sacramento to New York City to stand outside of any place to work some minimum wage, back-breaking work. Like, that's just not in the fucking question. Couldn't do it. And so, to wrap it up, we worked for about 3 weeks, and the main guy ended up getting a job with a construction company. Like I said, he got on with them, so it was just his man. And so one day I came and he told me like, yeah, I got on with this other dude. It's like, you're going to be consistent for a couple months because they're building a house. So like, do your thing, man. I'm happy for you. So I told his homeboy, well, it's your turn now. You get to put somebody on. Get somebody that you know that works and bring them on. So he picks this guy. It's kind of short, fat looking dude. So I was like, I don't know. And so we get there, and dude is just a piece of shit. Like, he does, because I'm assuming they've told them the stories of what happened. how we get down. You don't got to work that hard. I buy beer and shit. So he's strolling around, kind of half-ass working, and I can see the look on dude's face. The guy that I originally picked up, I can see the look on his face, kind of like, "Hey, it's not that kind of kick it. Like, you're tripping right now." So I gave him about half hour, and then I was like, "Yeah, like you're fired, bro. Go ahead and get in the truck." So I told dude, like, "I'm gonna go take him back. I'll leave you here, and I'm gonna get somebody else." So I take him back. So when I take him back, everybody's laughing at him. Like, damn, you got fired from the easiest job out there. Like, you're hella dumb. You're stupid ass nigga. So I get another guy. We finish up. And the way it ended up working out, there was only maybe a couple more days left to work. So I didn't really see them too much after that. Now, the problem was, well, it wasn't the problem, but what happened was this created a monster. Because now I knew that there was a way that I could get out of doing physical labor. And I'm not lazy by any stretch of the imagination. But there's one philosophy that my dad had always he didn't really teach me it, but I learned from him. And it's time is money. This was why working a day job, while it did provide some security and stability, when you trade time for money, your boss isn't going to really respect your time. They're going to want you to work overtime. They're going to talk to you however kind of way they want. And it's not good for my mental state. So I was from the mindset of paying people to do stuff. Like, yeah, I could get a lawnmower and I could save however many couple of dollars over the course of time by cutting my own grass, or I could have someone do it. Now, when I was younger, like most young kids, I cut grass. I cut my uncle's grass, cut some other neighbor's grass. But by the time I became old enough to earn my own money, I wasn't cutting no more grass. I wasn't doing that. Also, when I was a kid, we had gardeners. So I saw, and the irony of the situation, I didn't realize it until I became an adult. Our gardener they were Hispanic, and only one or two of them spoke English. There was the mother and the father were the owners, and there was like you would see the same people from time to time. Like you would see, or regularly you would see the same people, but as I got older, so 10, 15, 20 years later, you would see different faces. And then the son ended up taking over and went from there. And I realized after I had picked up these day laborers that that's what they were doing. They owned this lawn business, this gardening business, and they would just hire different people who were either just got here or needed a job, so on and so forth. And that was their thing. And I mean, again, I couldn't do nothing but respect it because it was a hustle. But again, they were, oh my gosh, it was like $30 or $40 a month. And they cut the grass. They fixed They fixed the sprinklers. They trimmed the hedges, like the rose bushes. They would sweep in the front. They would take the grass like away from the front of the house. So in my mind, it was worth $50 to pay them to do it. Like I wasn't going to get sweaty and gross to cut all of the lawn, trim the hedges, do the trees, do the sprinklers, and take the... No. I just wasn't doing that. Pimpin wasn't doing that. So I took that philosophy into adulthood. Even with something as simple as like an oil change or doing laundry. Like, yeah, I could probably do my own laundry, or you could take it to the laundromat. And these were things that I kind of learned were perks from working hard. Like if I work hard and I make enough money, I guess I didn't see it at the time, but as an adult, I saw this. I'm adding to the economy by now paying someone to do this. Now they're providing me a service, and it's the circle of life. You're paying me I'm paying you to do my laundry. If you need some fine china or some fine art, I got you. The same thing with we had a mechanic for Jesus 20, 25 years until he had got sick a little later on. And yeah, I could have saved some money by doing my own oil change, but if you take it to him, you're building rapport with a local business. Because now, yeah, I could have did it and could have saved some time, but now that I kicked him the $50, $60, whatever he's going to charge, which was, well, it was probably more than that, but whatever that is, now when something big comes, if it's $1,000 or something, I can be like, look, I got this 500 now. I'm gonna shoot you this 500 in 2 weeks, and now you can make things happen. Or if there's a collision, he can refer me to somebody. I always got a connect instead of trying to do it myself. Like that's how owning your own business works. Now I said all of that to say, one day I was with Black Ass Mike. Shout out to Black Ass Mike. If you haven't heard it, go listen to the Tales of Black Ass Mike. You're gonna get a laugh. One day we were at the house, and he needed an oil change. And Mike is the exact opposite of me. He's not that business savvy. His business relationships with people are on shaky ground. So he says, "Oh well, my car needs an oil change because we were going to go to the mall. It was summertime, so that's a prime time to be at the mall. So it's maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock. So it's summertime in Sacramento. It's already like 90 something. So he's like, I have the little ramp to drive the car up on. I have the thing to catch the oil. I have the oil. I have a new oil filter. And I was like, yo, check it out. I'm not trying to do that, B. Like, how long is it going to take you to change the oil? He's like, bro, it's only going to take like an hour or two, and then we can go to the mall. I was like, look, you can change the oil. You can save a couple dollars. You got your oil filter, your oil. You can get all greasy and shit underneath the car and lay on the ground. Or we can go to Jiffy Lube and do that shit in 15 minutes for $40. He's like, well, I'm not trying to spend $40. So I was like, shh. Listen, I will pay for it. I'm not even tripping about the $40. But my time, I was like, we're missing prime time girl checking out season at the mall, bro. Why waste 2 hours sitting here, maybe 3, on you change the oil? We can go pay somebody to do it for $40 to be done. So he argues with me all the way up there. So we get up there, we go inside, pay dude. We're not sitting in the lobby long enough to finish our argument. They come back in, bam, your car's done. You guys ready? We dip off. Now we're dipping to the mall, and it goes silent in the car. And he kind of looks at me and he was like, you know what, you were right. Because we'd still be under that hot-ass car right now, sweating and shit. We're already on the way to the mall. We're big kicking it. I was like, bro, sometimes it's just not worth your time to do it. I mean, oh, it's almost my bedtime. But I'll regale you with one more tale. So, now I done got comfortable with picking up day laborers. So, anytime I had any kind of physical labor to do, that was my go-to. Uh-oh. Somebody's home. Hold on a second. Okay. With the power of technology, we're back instantly. Oh, my wife just got home, so I got to hurry up and tell this story. So, I'm comfortable with the day laborer situation. And one day I had to move storage units. My mom was swapping out storage units, and she wanted me to help. And like I said, I don't do manual labor anymore. I've graduated. My time isn't worth it. So I get a U-Haul truck, and it was like the 30-foot kind, because there was a lot of stuff in there. And I wasn't really trying to do it. So I had that's what I had. I had my man, Cali Sick. Shout out to Cali Sick. I still need that intro music. Holla at your boy. I had him drive my car, and I drove the 30-foot U-Haul truck. So this time we go to Home Depot because we needed reinforcements. So I'm coming up Florin, and it's the Home Depot right on the other side of the freeway. So I turn into the parking lot, and all of the day laborers don't really stand by the door of Home Depot. They stand closer to the street. So as I turn in, everyone looks automatically. Bam, they're looking for eye contact. And I look at them and I just nod my head up and down. So when this happens, it now becomes a 100-yard dash. And I kid you not, there was 30 people running full speed. I'm talking about drop everything you have and are running full speed to catch up to the truck. Just it looked like The Walking Dead. Not even it looked like a vampire movie. So I get to a point where I can't go straight anymore, so I stop and I go to turn around. As I go to turn around, this guy hops up on the driver's side and he speaks good English. He's like, "Hey, what's up, man? You need help? This, and this." As he's talking, two more guys slide into the passenger side. And they're like, "We're ready to go, boss. We're ready to go." So I turn away from the guy in my window and I look. I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, all right." Before I can even reverse the car any farther, I see a third guy start to pull on the door. And he's struggling with the second guy. So there's the first guy who's in the middle, the second guy who's at the door, and there's a third guy hanging on the door. At this point, I'm not even paying attention to the guy in my driver's side window. Now, the third guy and the second guy are struggling they're battling over the door. It's like tug of war. So the third guy pulls the door open. Now, he's grabbed the second guy, and he's trying to pull him out of the truck. So they're struggling for a second. I'm just sitting there watching like it's the Hunger Games. So the third guy finally overpowers the second guy and pushes him out of the truck, closes the door, locks it, and says, "We're ready to go, boss." Now, mind you, this is in broken English. Like, they still really don't have a good grasp of English. So I'm like, okay, let's go. So the guy in the window, I told him, was like, "Well, I got my crew. Looks like you're a little too late." So he hops down. So guy number one and guy number three dap each other up because they obviously know each other. So I back out. I'm like, "Hey, $10 para dia." See. So we back out. We go to the first storage place. Me and DJ Cali Sick we're moving boxes at our own pace. The two day laborers that we got just looked at us and they were like, "Could you just move? What about that?" And they just started bam, bam, bam. They loaded the truck. They're like, "We're ready to go." We drive to the next spot. This is the time I went to the gas station. And I was asking, like, "Do you want chips? Do you want soda, candy, water, whatever?" And they're like, "No, no, no." And then I had to explain to them again, I'm buying. These motherfuckers started grabbing Snickers and Doritos and all types of shit. But I mean, if you work hard, you can play hard. So I get them their water, get them all their stuff. We get to the next spot, bam. They knock everything out. We were done. The whole thing probably took 2 hours. So they got fed. They got 2 hours. Well, it took 3 hours. So now they're back at the site by 12. They didn't got paid for 3 hours. I had a BMX, not a BMX, like those old school Schwinn bikes. I had one of those and like a sleeping bag and like a radio or something. And the guy asked if he could have it because I mean I wasn't using it. It was in storage, so I gave it to him. I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." So when I dropped him back off, he gets out of the truck. He's got a bike, a sleeping bag, there's radio. So they're like, "Wait, what? What is that?" So he's showing off his new bike, like, yeah, you see it. That was just one of that was probably the best story I ever had with picking up day laborers and such. But yeah, man, are you a sucker for having a boss? To an extent, you are. Like, you can always make your own money. It may not be in the way that you want to, but it's possible. Sometimes you have to trade safety and security for the risk. Sometimes the risk is worth it. Far be it for me to judge. And however you get your money, God bless you. I love you. It doesn't matter to me. But it definitely was interesting. Oh, so that is it. It's time for me to go to bed. I got to go to the plantation tomorrow. As I promised, the co-host I want, look her up on Instagram and tell her that you want her as our co-host. Her Instagram name is. You thought I was gonna say it, didn't you? One of these days, I'm gonna put her on blast. We can look for her. I don't know. Oh, we're supposed to be moving, so we are gonna have a new wonderful location for the Best Day Ever podcast, and we might even have video. You never know. Again, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tru Sav Comedy. Questions, comments, concerns, Best Day Ever Podcast at gmail.com. See, that is it, lovely people. I can't get yesterday back. I might not get tomorrow, so that makes today the best day ever. Peace.